Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently ready to launch this again. We called this series Surviving Duna, but to be honest, there's been very little survival up until this point. But we don't have much in terms of like attitude control on this, right? So the main downside of these P re-entry modules is they do not have a gyroscope in them, and we should have either a gyroscope or some sort of fins. Delta Deluxe winglets are available, actually. Okay, let's put some fins on this for now. These are maybe a little on the big side, but that should do for the moment. And do we also want to have a gyroscope on here? Just wondering about the size. Yeah, we could fit that in right here. Like that. What's our thruster weight? Oh, and you'll also notice that I've added an additional fuel tank here. I forgot to mention that. But I added an additional fuel tank here, and the reason why I did this, the staging is completely broken. The reason why I did this is because we need more air between us and the ground in order to increase our safety. So that is absolutely something that needs to happen here, is we need to go more sideways so that there's more air between us and the ground. So that's absolutely fine, and with this attitude control added in, this should be pretty okay. Let's go ahead and launch this. We'll put this out on the pad, and we should have no major issues at this point. We should have good control of the rocket in pretty much all situations, and we should also run out of electric charge at some point, and that's going to be interesting. I believe we have an alternator on our engine, though, so that won't be for a while. Yeah, that's got an alternator on it. So let's go ahead and launch this thing, and we're going to get what science we can. Immediately, we can grab a material study, and we're going to do that. What's our thrust to weight? 1.6? Okay, perfect. So that's decent thrust to weight. No doubt about that. And we're just going to hold this attitude until we built up some airspeed here. We're going to need to get, I don't know, maybe around 200 meters per second, and then we're going to try to get some horizontal speed. Let's see how that ends up going. 170, 180, 190, and 200. Okay, so you can see here we are very, very stable. The rocket is really trying to move back into the prograde, and that is kind of a good thing, but also kind of not. So that means that we're going to have a bit of a hard time building up our horizontal speed. That's fine for the moment. So I'm looking at our fuel amounts here. Okay, I'm just going to hold attitude here for now, and we'll see where our apoapsis ends up going to. This will be interesting. We've got about 25 seconds of burn time left. And the question is, what altitude are we going to end up getting to, right? Well, for the time being, we know we're going to be coming down over water. That is pretty much guaranteed at this juncture. And our overall vertical speed is not tremendously high. We're out of fuel now. Okay, so let's see where we end up hitting. I still want to be in the prograde marker to have as little drag as possible. Let's take a quick peek out here. Yeah, I don't think we're quite going to make it out of the atmosphere. I really don't think we're quite going to make it out of the atmosphere, but we don't need to. We can grab our mystery goo observation for now. There we go. And then we can add a little bit more fuel to this after this flight. That's going to be the overall concept anyway. So we're just going to continue to hold attitude here, but you can see we're basically in pure horizontal. We have basically no vertical speed left. So at this juncture, I'm going to ditch all of this back here. There we go. That can get out of here. And we're going to flip this right on around and hold attitude here in the retrograde position. So that'll be fine, and all we need to do now is just bring this right on down. We're going to be able to reset our materials study eventually, so we're going to collect everything here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get our drogue chutes out now, even though they're not very interested in actually coming out. You'll notice we were going down in surface velocity until I moved us to be in line with retrograde here. That's a good sign. So these are currently deployed, correct? Yeah, they're armed. So we just need to get to the minimum pressure. And there we go. So the drogues are now deployed, and they'll slow us on down for the main, and that'll be perfect. What we need to do at this point is get the main out. I'm going to turn SAS off, and the drogues are going to hold us right around this point. We're going to get the main chute out, and we're just going to warp this down until everything is... I was going to say until everything is open, but we know we have a reach issue for our scientist. Because I was going to say we can grab low-flying data here, but we can't because of our scientist reach issue. So that's understood. We're going to have to bring this down and do the reset in the water. That's okay. So we'll bring this right on down, and as you can see, this was a very, very safe flight, but we did not even come close to reaching space there, and that's not necessarily surprising. In fact, it's not necessarily surprising. It's not surprising at all. So we'll bring this right on down. We're still about 200 meters up, apparently. Okay, so we're coming down at about 8 meters per second, which is absolutely fine for coming down into the water. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to have Bob EVA. And Bob, you can just let go here. Bob, there you go. Just start swimming. Cool. So now we're going to restore the Science Junior. I'm going to open this service bay. The camera is going kind of nuts right now. Bob is apparently out of range of this. Okay, there, we're going to restore this mystery goo unit. Let's go ahead and grab that, and we will keep this experiment. We're going to collect that data, and we're going to restore this again, and then we're going to conduct this material study. Come on, Bob. Get over here. There you go. We're going to keep that. We're going to collect this data, and we're going to restore the Science Junior. So all of this data is going to be stored here in the capsule now. So now what we can do is we can grab the mystery goo observation again and the material study again to maximize our data storage. So that looks good, and we'll recover that. So that's going to give us some amount of data. But, I mean, it wasn't a tremendously high flight. So we need either a lot more delta V or we need a fair amount of additional altitude. And both of those things are doable. So we could do either of those, but we got 36.7 science from that. So that was pretty good, really. Let's hop into the R&D here, and we could grab... General construction is a possibility, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We can't go into this tier yet, so we can grab either of these, but I don't think we need either of them at this time. So for the moment, we'll just hold that. I'm interested in upgrading our astronaut complex so that we can EVA. That is going to be a very useful thing. So we'll go ahead and be able to EVA. That will be good. And we could also potentially upgrade the tracking station. That's too expensive right now, but this would be a good thing to do. Mission control would also be a good thing, but we don't have access to that either. So this is going to be like 225,000. Okay, what do we have for contracts right now? Well, the answer is we need to test the heat shield splashdown. I should have done that when we were out there. I forgot about that. We could have done that. Okay, yeah. We'll do that in the next flight. So let's hop into the VAB here, and we are going to... Are we going to make any changes to this? I want to see if we added a little bit more fuel here. What would our thrust to weight look like? And yeah, we don't have the T-800 tanks yet. So this would be 1.28, much lower thrust to weight. No doubt about that. So this engine is reaching its limits of what it can lift here. We could theoretically swap over to the T-30 Reliant, which has higher sea level thrust. It does not have gimbaling, but does not matter. We have the control surfaces and the gyroscope. So that may not actually matter all that much. For the time being, I'm going to leave this be. I want to see what this feels like. It's probably going to be bad. Lifting off the pad at 1.28 is not really ideal. I usually try to target about 1.6. So that was where we were previously. This is going to be significantly lower thrust to weight, and we're not going to get very far off of this fuel that we added in here. Most of that is going to be spent on fighting gravity. So, as you can see, we only went up by like 200 meters per second by increasing this by 25%. We've got diminishing returns going on there. So, let's lift this off. Oh, that's slow. Okay, I want to take this pretty straight up for right now. And we are just going to... We have the capability of potentially trying to glide this thing in. Now that we have the wings on here. I was just thinking about that, what that might look like. If we come in nose first and then try to pull up towards the water, we would have some ability to steer. I don't think it would be a tremendous amount of ability to steer, and I don't think it would be very aerodynamically stable. It's not exactly designed for that. So that's, you know, a potential issue. Well, let's just head right on up for now. And I'm going to wait this time for a while before we start getting any horizontal speed. So I'm going to wait until, I don't know, maybe like 10 kilometers, something like that. So that's 9 kilometers and 10. Okay, let's start trying to steer this guy on over. It's much less stable at this altitude. It's more controllable. That's good. We're happy about that. So we're now just trying to get a little bit of horizontal speed. Most of our speed went into verticality, and we're probably going to need more verticality than what we have here, but this ascent profile will take us up a little bit higher than we went previously. The question is, how much higher, right? We've still got about 600 meters per second here. It's going to be a fair amount higher, I think. Okay, so we're about to run out of fuel here, and let's see what this is looking like. Maybe. I'm going to give that one a hard maybe. I want to still be in surface mode for the moment. And let's steer our way right on over to here. We're going to hold here. And we need to keep an eye, of course, on our life support, as well as on our electric charge here. So electric charge is going to be a significant issue. We're flying high at this moment. The question is, do we think we're going to make it into vacuum to be able to grab all of our vacuum data? That seems spicy. But maybe. This ascent profile might take us to vacuum. It'd be really good to grab some vacuum data. I don't know. I feel like we're slowing down an awful lot. I'm just looking at where our prograde marker is and thinking, once it goes down here, we're going to be going down again, right? It's going to be like 62 kilometers, I think. Yeah, I don't think we're quite going to make it, but we could definitely kiss space, no doubt about it, if we took a little bit less aggressive of a gravity turn there. That's a theoretical option. So for now, I'm going to grab our material study here. As you can see here, our vertical speed going down, and now we're negative. So we're going to grab this. We're going to grab our mystery goo observation. This is all we can grab here for now. I'm going to ditch these down here, and we're going to turn around to the retrograde marker. So we're just going to point ourselves to right here. Now, the only thing holding us in this position at this point is our gyroscope. So if we run out of power, that's a problem, but we've only used 10 electric charge thus far. So that looks good. Our horizontal speed is, of course, still fairly significant, and we've got a fair amount of slowing down to do. So I want to take a look at this trajectory here. Okay, there's a little bit more air between us and the ground than there was previously. Maybe not as much as I'd hoped. We're accelerating for the moment. If we came in like this, this is maximizing our drag at this point. So I'm doing that for right now, and we're going to try to maximize our drag, but we'll see how this goes. As we can see, our surface velocity is increasing right now, and that's definitely not ideal, but we've got a fair amount of space between us and the ground yet. I'm hoping that this starts going down soon. Okay, we can't hold this attitude anymore. We're being pulled over to retrograde. But you can see here, we are decelerating. Okay. Hopefully we're decelerating enough. I think we are. We're 20 kilometers up still. And our drogue chutes are technically deployable at this point. Out go the drogues. We're fine. Sounds great. The main chute will be deployable as of now. SAS can be turned off. Our chutes will hold us in attitude. So now what I want to do is I want to warp us down until chute deploy. Not drogue chute deploy, main chute deploy. Then we're going to grab our EVA report from flying low. So Pabis is going to hop out and grab that. That'll be fine. It is apparently sunset. Cool. So that's drogue chute deploy there. Now we need main chute deploy. There's main chute deploy. Okay, so now Pabis is going to hop out. We're going to EVA, and we're going to grab the EVA report, and then we're going to hop right back in. Excellent. Now we can warp down to landing. And that looks reasonably fine for now. We also broke a land distance record of 100 kilometers there. So we can definitely angle a little bit higher up and get a little less horizontal speed. But that'll be a little dangerous for us. Reason being, we might not slow down enough through aerobraking. That would be the concern. Is there really any reason to get this data here? It's 0.2 and 0.5. Well, we might as well get it, I suppose. So Bob, go ahead and EVA on out, and he's going to swim around over this way. Restore the Science Junior. Open the service bay, rather, and hop on in here. This is very... Okay, this is rocking around an awful lot. Can you please restore this? Thank you. Okay, now we'll conduct this material study. Yes. That's all fine. We'll keep that, collect this data, restore, and then hop on over this direction. The water is not very cooperative right now, but that's fine. We'll observe the mystery goo. Keep that experiment, collect the data, and restore. And then we'll close the service bay, and we'll hop back in. So this should get us all of the data that we can get from the water here. And that's good. Okay, go ahead and board, and we'll grab our material study. Not even any additional data within the threshold in the mystery goo. So that looks good. We'll recover this. That's all of the data that we can get from the water. That's, at least with the current technology, that's fine. So that looks great, and at this point, I think we need to try to get up to vacuum. The real issue, of course, remains. How are we going to do the recovery? It could be spicy. Well, we got a little bit of funds. Oh, I forgot to test the... Okay, I forgot to test the heat shield again. I need to remember to do that. Okay, let's try this one more time. This time, we're going to go less aggressive on the gravity turn. I'm going to take us up to 20 kilometers of straight up altitude this time before I take us to the 45-degree angle. This should get us quite a lot more altitude. So we're going to launch this thing one more time, and hopefully I remember to run the contract. I need to stop forgetting it. Okay, so this is fine for the moment. We can run this material study, but I'm not going to for now. We need to do a lot of these runs in order to get these various little things, right? And we can grab this EVA report from flying low when we're very early on in the flight. I think we'll do that maybe next flight when we're just getting started with it. This is also flying low over the shores, so we could potentially try to, like, if we have an abort situation, we could try to grab it there. But hopefully we don't have more abort situations. So we're just going to go straight up at this point until we're at a 20-kilometer altitude. That's the idea here. And then we're going to go over 45 degrees in the easterly direction. So that looks fine. 6 kilometers there. 7 kilometers. We're definitely building up airspeed. Everything is looking good thus far. Situation is nominal. That's 10 kilometers. This is where we started the gravity turn previously. 12 kilometers. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. Okay. We're now flying high. And 20 kilometers. Let's just very cautiously pull this right on over. We don't want to go directly over there because that could potentially cause us issues. We're also picking up a little bit of a roll as we turn there, I'm noticing. Okay. So we'll just hold attitude about here until we're out of fuel, which we basically are. So as we can see, that's a lot more verticality, right? Now what I want to do is I want to ditch this, which we're going to do right now. Excellent. And this is hopefully going to bring us up into space. I think, yeah. I think this is going to bring us up to vacuum. Almost certainly. So we're going to continue to hold on this prograde marker for now. Of course, we're not going to make orbit. We're not trying to make orbit at this point. If I was trying to make orbit, we would have a significantly different setup. What are these down here? Is that debris? Can probably collect that. Okay, so vacuum as of now. So we're going to grab what we can here. Question is, how long are we going to remain in vacuum, right? We're going to have Bob EVA, and Bob is going to grab an EVA report. He's going to let go, and we're going to use monoprop to come on down over here. We're going to collect this data and restore. We're going to open this guy, and we're going to collect this data and restore as well. I'm keeping an eye on our current altitude. We're going to conduct the material study. We're going to keep this experiment, and we're going to observe this mystery goo. Keep that experiment. Okay. We need to come up over this direction. We're going to store these experiments. Now we're going to come back down over here. We're going to collect this data and restore, and we're going to collect this data and restore. Then we can hop back in. Now, the main question here is, are we going to survive? And we'll find out. So I want to board. There we go. And now, of course, we can run these again, which we will do. Keep that experiment. Perfect. And keep that experiment. Excellent. We'll close these doors and close these doors. And now we're ready to go back down, which is good because we're going back down. Excellent. Now, the re-entry happens, and the real question is here, will we survive this? I don't know. Our retrograde is going to be mostly vertical here. We've got a little bit of horizontal distance. You can see this was the launch site right down over here. So we will see. We're going to try to burn off as much speed as we can by being basically here, right? Or actually, we want to be over on this side. So it's going to be like basically here. Okay, we're going to be hitting the atmosphere shortly, and we'll see how this goes. It's going to be spicy. I'm already concerned about this, but let's go. So we're now flying high over the water, and we are currently attempting to slow down as much as we can. We're moving pretty quick here, and that's absolutely understood. We're going to build up quite a lot of speed. There's not a ton of air between us and the ground. This was known to be dangerous when we ran this. So we will see if we blow up any more Kerbals here. We're still accelerating at this time. And really, we should be like about here. Okay. Still accelerating at 40 kilometers up. This is spicy. Okay, we're being pulled over to retrograde. We can't be anywhere but retrograde. We're now slowing back down. We might be okay here. We're at 20 kilometers. I think we're fine. Yeah, we're good. Okay, beautiful. So we can get the drogue chutes out. This is really good. I'm very happy about this. And the main chute out. Okay, let's warp on down, and we're okay here. Beautiful. Once again, a nice sunset. We're coming down on the dark side, so it's going to be a little bit dark here, but that's absolutely fine. We are in a good position here. We don't need to do any EVAing here. We don't have anywhere to store this material study, so no point in running that. And let's just bring this right on down. We're still about 600 meters up, but all is looking good here. We could also potentially think about taking this up to 4 drogue chutes. Might not be a bad idea. We're a little high on our landing speed here. If we have to do a land landing, this could be potentially spicy. I think we'd be okay, but it'd be a little rough. Okay, so there's our splashdown there, and let's recover the vessel. Let's see what we got. It should be a decent amount of science, but it won't, I don't think, be a tremendous amount of science. We're getting pretty close to wanting to go orbital, though, so that would be absolutely fantastic to do. But we're still working on collecting some of this early science, so this is all fine for the moment. 19.2 science earned, putting us at 98 science. Oh, wow, I forgot to do the service bay test again. Okay. We'll get it one of these times. We will get it one of these times. Okay, so for now, we could grab any of these. And what are we most interested in? Well, to be honest, having access to some form of photovoltaic panel would be really good going into orbit. And we're going to need to figure out what kind of life support we need, right? That's going to be important as well. But I think low orbit, we're probably not going to have to worry too much about life support because we can always just abandon the orbit and head on down very quickly in theory. Emphasis on in theory. So that's definitely noted, and we'll see how that ends up going. This would give us access to solar panels, but again, I don't think we really need solar panels right now. We might want to start thinking about going for heavy rocketry, as that would give us access to some of this here, or potentially getting access to... Yeah, these aren't really what I'm interested in right now. The T-800 fuel tank would be a pretty useful thing for, like, finances. Sure, we could take that. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to continue to grab some of this early science, but we're really starting to think about going for orbit very, very soon. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.